Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird, and I am here to do not an unboxing per se, but I guess you could call it that. It's me showing off a whole bunch of new Hellraiser comics that I got in the mail. So here's the deal. We actually just completed a big endeavor on the channel in December, which was Christmas in Hell. It was 3 full weeks of daily Hellraiser content outside of the Hail to Stephen King's, of course, on Saturdays. And so it was a ton of Hellraiser content covering all the movies, except for the first one, which we had already covered, as well as all 4 books that are set in the Hellraiser universe officially, as well as the couple of different comics, all of the Boom Studios Hellraiser comics, which are the stuff that involved Kirsty becoming Pinhead. And so we reviewed all of those, and then we also reviewed the Hellraiser masterpieces, 2 trade paperbacks that have come out. And what I looked up while we were doing all of that coverage was all of the Hellraiser comics that I didn't have. So obviously we had those Boom Studios comics in trade paperback format, and now I think I'm going to have to get them in single issue format eventually. But what I didn't have was all of the Hellraiser comics starting from the late 80s, very early 90s, going up through the mid 90s that came out, and there was a bunch of it. So after we did all of our Hellraiser coverage, I'm like, here's the deal. I have now watched all of the Hellraiser movies, I have read all of the Hellraiser books, and I have read all of the Boom Studios Hellraiser comics and the Hellraiser masterpieces. I'm like, at this point, I've consumed almost all Hellraiser content there is to be consumed out there. The only things I don't have are those comics from the late 80s and 90s. And so I went ahead and I got a bonus from work, and so I used that bonus to eBay basically all of the Hellraiser comics that I did not and have not read yet. So that's what I'm here to show off today, is all those comics. They've all finally arrived. I'm going to pull up the Wikipedia here, and I'll show it on screen for you guys, so you see all of the stuff that I was going for. So Hellraiser in comic book format started in 1989 with the original Hellraiser comic book series coming out of the Epic Comics line. Now, this was not Marvel, this was not DC. I believe Marvel eventually bought Epic, or this was a subcategory of Epic, or of Marvel rather, but I believe it was its own company at the time, kind of like Dark Horse and whatnot. But there was 20 issues of the Hellraiser series, and that is what these are right here. This is all 20 issues of the Hellraiser comics. Now, what I found out about these issues once they arrived was that this was not your normal 20-issue comic series. No. These are all prestige format books. And what that means is they're thick enough to need a spine and printing on the spine. So you can see Clive Barker's Hellraiser, issue 1 through 20. These are thick boys, y'all. Thick boys. And I gotta say, it looks like 3 stories, right? You see the table of contents there? So you got story 1, then story 2, and then story 3, maybe story 4. Maybe 4 stories, and I'm showing you a butt. I mean, I hope I don't get censored for that. I might have to censor that, believe it or not. But, I mean, that's the kind of thing you get. Look at this cool artwork. So this is obviously an anthology series, and this is what those Hellraiser Masterpiece volumes were drawn off of. If you watched our review of Hellraiser Masterpieces volumes 1 and 2, you'll know that these, well, now you know that these are the issues that those Masterpiece stories came from. So obviously with 20 issues, 4 stories an issue, that's 80 different stories, and they collected, I think, maybe 20, 25 stories total in those 2 trade paperbacks combined. So I'm excited to go through these. So I'm going to show you each and every single cover. I'm sorry if it's boring, skip ahead if you want to see the rest of the books, but I mean, I paid for them, so I'm going to show them off. So Hellraiser number 1, okay? Issue number 2, Stretched Skin. Gotta love that. And feel free to take a look at some of these names as we go through. So Dwayne McDuffie, huge in the comic book industry. He was a very prominent black creator that, if I'm not mistaken, had a hand in creating the Milestone universe for DC Comics, that actually Static Shock is about to get a movie of his character, rather, that I believe Dwayne McDuffie had a hand in creating. And then Kevin O'Neill has had to do with Batman in the past. So take a look at these names as I go through these. So that is pretty amazing. All right, dinner party kind of thing. I'm going to be checking out the names as we go through here. And that's interesting. Okay, don't know what that. I can barely see those names. Yep. So here's the reason why. Oh wow, that one's got 5 stories in it. Look at that. Dwayne McDuffie again, coming back in. Ron Wood, seen a few times here. So this is really cool. What's great about this, you guys, is if you haven't watched our other Hellraiser coverage, this Hellraiser is by far, to me, what lends itself, the horror property that lends itself the most to anthological storytelling. They don't all have to do with Pinhead. Obviously, I'm guessing he has to do with one of these stories in here, but these stories don't have anything to do with Pinhead or the Cenobites we know. Some of them do, but some of them do not. And what's great about the Hellraiser franchise, look at this. Larry Wachowski. That's one of the Wachowski brothers before they became the Wachowski sisters that created The Matrix. That's right. Larry Wachowski created a Hellraiser story. And so here we go, continuing on. These books are good. We are up to number... Oh my goodness, what number is this? 15? So we're almost done with these. But, I mean, again, Hellraiser doesn't have to be associated with Pinhead and his Cenobites. There are a ton of Cenobites. Now, the Harrowers storyline was definitely in the Masterpieces collection that we reviewed, so I'll be able to skip through some of these stories, the Hellraiser continuation, or the Harrowers continuation. And then we have issue 19 and issue 20, which was the cover of one of those Masterpiece collections, if I'm not mistaken. So that is the Hellraiser series proper, issues 1 through 20. Now, continuing on, this is where things get a little bit interesting. It gets a little bit comic booky, quite honestly. So the next group of books I'm going to show off are the specials. So apparently there were a number of Hellraiser specials that came out, including the Hellraiser, sorry, I'm going to keep the sides up here, the Hellraiser Summer Special. Don't know what's going on there, but I do know that this is also an anthology book. And then we had the Hellraiser Holiday Special. I'm super excited to see how Hellraiser can tie into Christmas in this particular special. The Hellraiser 3 Hell on Earth adaptation, this came with a lot of the books that I ordered, so the only thing that I don't have outside of this is the Hellraiser 1992 adaptation, which, you know, maybe I'll grab that, maybe I won't. I probably will. I don't know why I didn't, but I will. And then there was the Hellraiser Spring Slaughter issue, and look at that cover. That's pretty cool. I mean, outside of the bikini, I like the monsters more than anything, to be honest with you. So beyond that, there was also, well, we'll keep it in order here. Actually, no, I already skipped the order. So before those specials was this right here, which is Epic Book 1. And this has 4 different stories, but Hellraiser is one of them. So there is one unique Hellraiser story that's in this, and look at that cover. Little baby Pinhead. That's kind of a cool little cover. So this was issue number 1 of a 4-issue series spotlighting different Epic properties. And again, Epic is the line that was creating these comics. So that's what this is. This was yet another single Hellraiser story. And that leads us to 1993 and 94 when we got this, the 6-issue Pinhead series. So, again, I have not read any of these. I can't speak to what they're about yet, but rest assured, as I go through them, you will get a review of the Hellraiser series, you will get a review of the Pinhead series, you will get a review of the other things. We did already review, or I reviewed, the Hellraiser versus Nightbreed. I showed the Wikipedia, so you know what that looks. It's a 2-issue series from 1991, before Epic, after the Hellraiser series, and I loved that. I thought that was an excellent crossover. So now we're up to the Pinhead series. This is what these covers look like. So again, here's issue number 1. And this is actually half Pinhead, half another character that's involved in the story, which I haven't read yet, but I did flip through one of the issues, and that's another character. So they kind of did half and half on this front cover. And then there was issue number 2. And again, this is from 1993-94. I had no idea about these. I'm super excited. I love the fact that there's more adventures of Pinhead that I can go ahead and go through, so I'm super excited to check that out. And number 5. And then finally, the last issue, complete departure looking, but super exciting. Pinhead in the caveman times. What? Which caveman summoned Pinhead and the Cenobites? I don't know. I'm really interested to see how this comes together. Next was a 2-issue crossover with another book that was called Martial Law. I don't know anything about it, but this is called Pinhead versus Martial Law in Hell. Law in Hell, rather. So that's issue number 1. And this is issue number 2. This was a 2-issue series for those of you that are like me, and you have to have the first issue on the left and the second issue on the right. 2-issue series. Haven't read it, no idea what it's about, but this came afterwards. This came out amongst the Pinhead series, apparently, because this was 1993. Next up is another series from 1993-94. So this came out in and amongst the Pinhead series as well, apparently. I don't know exactly when, but this is Clive Barker's The Harrowers, Raiders of the Abyss. So Pinhead on the cover there, but the Harrowers, again, the Harrowers are a group of people. If you didn't watch our review of the Hellraiser comics, the Harrowers are a group of people that are brought together. In the books that we reviewed, it was a bunch of people that had been affected by the lament configurations over time. They all gathered and formed a crew to go and hunt down lament configurations and destroy them. So I don't know if that's the plot of the Harrowers, Raiders of the Abyss, or if it's just a group of people that are deciding to go into hell and fight Pinhead and crew. I don't know. So first mission is number 2. What does it say? Heroes on a desperate mission to rescue lost souls. So that's what it says. So Clive Barker's Harrowers, Raiders of the Abyss number 3. Again, this is apparently sort of more loosely connected. But it is a continuation, and Pinhead was on the cover of number 1, so Terror in Times Square. I don't know. I'm excited to read this stuff, you guys. I started getting into comics right here. 1993-94 is when Superman died as well. So if I had known, I probably would have started to pick these up as well. But now I have them, and this is issue number 6. The final issue of the Harrowers. So that's that. We're nearing the end of our Hellraiser comics. Next up we have an interesting thing. I only know about this because of a different... This is not listed on the Wikipedia, but this is an actual separate story. It's Dread, Children of the Fire by Peter Atkins. I don't know if this is a fan mini-comic or whatever. I mean, let me pull it out and show it to you guys, because I was interested as all get out by this. It's number 1. It was $5. It's got a little bit of words throughout it, right? But it's also got, you know, some behind the scenes stuff of Hellraiser, I guess. I don't know. This might be... Oh, and Children of the Fire. So, by Peter Atkins. So this is actually maybe a fan-made Hellraiser story told in prose format. So, I don't know. I'm interested to give it a read and give it a look. And, I don't know, it's got some extra bonus material here, including script pages and some artwork. I don't know. I'm just very interested. It was listed in the site I went, and so I went and picked it up. It actually, this, believe it or not, was included with Hellraiser issues 1 through 5 when I got it from the eBay auction. So I guess I lucked out. I might never have found out about this otherwise. So I'm excited to give that a look. I will obviously tell you about that. And then finally, the last thing I have now, I know you saw Clive Barker's Hellbreed 1 through 3 on the Wikipedia list that I showed, but that was a magazine. Hellbreed was a magazine, and at most it had reprints of some of the Hellraiser stories inside, otherwise just like Hellraiser behind the scenes stuff, so I did not get it. But this 4-issue series was Clive Barker's Book of the Damned. This is something I should have shown a little bit earlier, but this is right after the Hellraiser series, and this is a Hellraiser companion is what it's listed as you can see there. So there are Hellraiser stories in it, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously Pinhead on the cover, but it's a compositions book here, and it's got, you know, it's got a mixture. It's got some prose, actually mostly prose it looks like, but some cool illustrations as well. I don't know, it said it's a Hellraiser companion, and so I picked it up. It was not a magazine, and every issue is indeed different, so I'll be excited to go through these and see what the heck they're all about. Here is issue number 2, Book of the Damned, volume 2, and then Book of the Damned, volume 3. Again, Pinhead on the cover, so it's got a... Oh, the journals of Philip Le Marchand. Ooh, okay, so Pinhead visiting Le Marchand in the 1700s or whenever it was. And then finally, what looks like a cover to a Shocker adaptation is actually Book of the Damned, Volume 4. So that is everything Hellraiser, you guys. If you enjoy this shirt, if you like Hellraiser, this is available on our TeePublic site. The link to our site is in the description box down below, so you can get your hands on this shirt. That's all the Hellraiser content that we are going to be able to do for now. Obviously, over time, we will get through all of these books, both the series and all of the specials and everything beyond that. But after this, that's all the Hellraiser content we have to actually review until the new movie or the new TV series actually comes out. So I thought I'd share this with you guys. This ended up being way longer in unboxing than I thought it would, but I wanted you to take a good hard look if you're a Hellraiser fan. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. Until next time though, I've been Cecil Laird, and remember, we have such sights to show you. And stay scared.